answer your question, it's crazy right now.
Yeah.
But if you have a good product, which we do,
Right.
and if you are a tool that will save money for state and hospitals, which is what we do, then you're in a good place.
Welcome to the Coles Ventures Podcast.
Okay.
Let's do
I'm
it.
excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
We talked before, but we haven't like gotten into the deep of it. So we've, you know, you're obviously a valued member at Fuel.
Thank you.
And we've chatted from time to time, but I'm excited to hear more about your story. So if you just want to start and kind of introduce yourself and tell people what you've been working on, background before this.
I am so excited to be here. When you scheduled this, in the summertime, it was like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see if Golden Sherpa is still here. Are we still helping people? My name is Margie Bensching. I am the founder and CEO of Golden Sherpa, and I am very excited to be sitting here at Fuel today and having this conversation with you about what we're doing and how we're helping families.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, let's go back up a little bit. What did you do before Golden Sherpa? There was like
a whole story, right? So I've been part of the Coles Publishing family for many years. And so for almost 1 month to 25 years, I tell people that, I worked at Coles Publishing. I worked in the marketing department.
So you almost worked there for 25 years?
1 month short of.
Oh my gosh.
1 month short of. Yes.
Is very impressive.
Yes.
What did you do for them? In marketing, okay.
Market research. I help businesses understand their market. I help them. Actually, when I started, there was a market research department. I think there were 6 people. But I guess I've always had a thing about technology and using technology to make things faster, quicker, easier.
Better.
So by the time I left, I was working part-time. I had some children, and Coles was really great to allow me to work part-time and just do my full-time job from wherever. So we used software. And that was one of the things that I still value about the Coles family, that they will listen to their employees. And if you can find some way to do it bigger, better, and innovative, they're on board. And so that's where I kind of learned all that.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, as a result, this podcast.
Yes, and that's
I was talking about it.
Yeah,
I was talking about it for months, and then finally I was like, I think I'm just going to do it. And Sky was like, yeah, go for it. See how it works. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's awesome. So then that brings us to Golden Sherpa. So is that you worked there for 25 years and then Golden Sherpa?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. So my story pretty much is, while I was at Coles, my last couple of years, my mom got cancer, and I went to Gonzaga and ended up here because I married somebody from the area. So
classic.
Yes, very much so.
Always how it works.
Yes. and I love it. I love it here.
Yeah.
We had no desire to move, but my mom and dad, they retired in Virginia, and my mom got a rare reoccurring cancer, and because of that, and because I worked part-time, I was, and because my background's research, I was the person who did the research, any kind of information sourcing, and then my mom passed away. And it was when my mom passed away that things kind of changed for me.
Yeah.
I think for many people, when they have an aged parent or they have a rare disease or they have some kind of a event in the family, you change a little bit or you reevaluate. And I did that. I had a great support where I was at Coles, but I felt like I needed something different, and an opportunity came to work at a startup. So I went from very traditional marketing
to very non-traditional.
And it was at that time when digital marketing was starting to come, and we were starting to I was really itching to use digital. And so I started working for a company called Zacon Fresh. They used to sell chicken, beef, and pork. And I worked for the CEO, and they needed somebody to help him as he was preparing to raise money. It's kind of funny that I'm actually like in this space, but I remember he told me, Margie, I don't know how long this company's going to be. So very safe job I don't know how long this company's going to be, but you're going to learn a lot. You're going to meet really great people. And if that's something you're interested in. And at that time, I was like, yes, that's what I'm interested in. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself. I even had somebody say when I was leaving, like, I can't believe you're going. I can't believe you're leaving us.
Yeah.
And I said, if you had an opportunity like this, you would do it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so I worked for them for a couple of years. You will not find Zaycon Fresh anywhere right now. So that was the story. But I met a lot of great people, and
a great learning experience too.
It was
right?
fabulous. At one point, I got a call. I always think about this, and it probably was a foreshadowing of where I'm at today. No idea I was going to start a company. I'll just say that. But as the person who worked for the CEO, when he wouldn't show up to things, I would do it.
Yeah.
So I get this call, Margie, I won't say his name, but he's not going to show up to an event that we paid quite a bit of money for him to be at. Jeez. It's a 3-day conference in Vegas. You will represent him if you're willing to take the task, if you're willing to accept this, in Vegas for 3 days. It's a CEO conference. And so his name will be there, but you'll be the person representing the company.
How does that conversation go with people? Because obviously you're like, hi, my name is Margie. I'm representing blah, blah, blah. Like, and
uncomfortable. But that's the beginning of uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think as an entrepreneur,
you gotta get used to it.
You gotta get used to it. And so I have always been the type of person, even when I was at Kohl's, if somebody said, Margie, do you want to? I'm like, sure, absolutely.
Why not?
I think you always should be prepared. And so I said, sure. When do I go? And I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning when I got the call, and I think I needed to be at the plane by 1.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Same
it was
day.
Same day.
That's crazy.
Packed my bags with very little information, and I had 3 days of the best experience and the best knowledge. And
That's
this
awesome.
was, how do you be a CEO? How do you market? What do you do? And it taught me in that 3-day time. I was exhausted. It was overwhelming, but there were some CEOs. Well, they were all CEOs. And they've been preparing for this conference to market their companies for months. Yeah. And I came with nothing because my CEO didn't have anything put together. And I put it together. I had to do pitches to TV and radio stations about chicken, beef, and pork. And so I had to do everything that people did for months. I had to do it in a day and get ready to pitch. And I had people coming up to me, which is made me, I still think about this, I feel so great. Like, how long have you been doing this? And what other programs have you participated in? And I'm like, this is Gonzaga, Kohl's Publishing, and just go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that started my, gosh, if you can do that. When that company ended, I had a network that I didn't realize, and at one time I never valued. I didn't value it. I thought, I'm a very social person. I like people. And so you're just my friend. That's it. Done. Yeah. But as you build a company, you realize it's friends and people in your network that you go back to often.
It's huge. I mean, that's probably a better way to go about it than most people, because I feel like most people are almost looking at it the opposite way, as like, these are my colleagues, these are people that I do business with, as kind of an angle first. And then on the back end, it's like, yeah, I guess we're friends.
Yeah.
So it's so much more natural to be like, no, we're friends. Like, like that, when you just like one day realize like, oh no, I could actually, utilize these people for business connections and other things like that. I mean, it's so much more natural than, going on it with a business mindset. It's terrible.
So when I was trying to decide what I was going to do with my life, I was touring a senior community with a friend. She's 96 years old at the time, a friend of a friend's mom. And she had a great experience looking for a senior community. And I had just maybe a year before started looking for senior information for my dad in Virginia. And I failed at it. I couldn't get information. I didn't want to give out his personal information. I didn't want to tell them all my dad's finances. And so ultimately, he wanted a spreadsheet with 5 communities from Virginia Beach, 5 communities in D.C., 5 communities in Spokane, and 5 communities in California. Margie, tell me how much it costs. Tell me what amenities they are. And then his idea was, and then I'll go and visit you guys all. So I'll visit your brother for a month. I'll visit, and then I'll make a decision. And just to start that's when it was the first time I went on to caring.com, or I think it was caring.com or Place for Mom. And I was like, oops, not going to do that again. Yeah. So I didn't do anything about that, but it was in my head how hard that was, or how annoying. I think that's what I thought. Yeah. And then I was with my friend, and she got into a community really fast. And again, I had been talking to friends about my dad's and this frustration I had. And people had said to me, oh, if you want your dad in a really great community, you need to get him on a waiting list. Just get his name on a waiting list, get his name on 2 or 3. So when he's ready to move into a senior community, he's on the list and he'll get into a community. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of difficult because I would have to do that in Virginia, like quite a few places. And so I didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. And so again, I'm with my friend and she's showing me her community. And the last time I talked to her, she hadn't said she was searching. And now she was in what I would consider one of Spokane's greatest communities. People try to get in. And so I said to her, what did you do? So she explained to me what she did. She said her son helped her. Somebody from his office helped her, took some tours, and based on those tours, she narrowed it down. She wanted a place where she could walk all year long. I thought, oh, she's a walker. She's 96, she still walks.
Hey, that's how she got to 96.
Yes, that's absolutely. And she didn't want to cook anymore. And again, Sure. And when she got older, she was so funny. When she got older, she wanted a place where she could do crafts, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. And I thought, right then, I'm in this hallway, people walking back and forth, active place. I thought, oh man, good job, Michael. That's my friend. Mm-hmm. I said, your mom's smiling. She really loves her. She actually said, it's like a cruise ship here, Margie. They give me anything I want.
Yeah.
And she felt that she had choice.
Yeah.
She actually told them what she wanted, and they found it for her. And then my thought was, oh man, Mike's one of those people that I'm not. He knows everybody. He's like from this town, and not only that, but he's an elder law attorney, so he's like way connected. So not only is he connected, but he's like a connected in the space. And I was not. I was not from Virginia Beach where my dad was, and I'm not a connected person. I don't even use my network. I just, they're my friends. At that time, I didn't know what a network was. And then I thought, well, good job, Michael. You're so connected. And I thought, what about all those people who aren't connected, like me? What about all those people who aren't connected like me, who don't have enough money to go and tour communities with their parent like I did? What about all those people who don't have any time? They work full time. I work part time at the time. What about? I just kept thinking about that, and my heart started beating really fast. I mean, in everything, a car, a purse, a coat. If my heart starts beating fast, I want it. There's no way I'm not going to get it. That's just how I am. I ran home, literally got in my car, my poor husband, and I said to him, I think I know what I want to do. And he was like, I remember he was in a hallway, and I went straight. I'm like very excited about this. I said, I think I want to help people get information about senior communities in a way that they don't have to go through what I did.
Yeah.
I want them to have choice. So that's what I said. And he's like, whatever, like, do whatever.
Sure. Okay.
But he was really smart. He said, but you've never started a business. You've worked for a startup. You worked at an established company, but you've never started a business. So you need to take a class on starting a business. That's what he told me.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And within a week, because I'm this way, and I was very excited about this, I'd used my network. I had some people that I knew. One was in Spokane, if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't know his name, Mark Pond. So Mark Pond is a librarian, and so he likes market research. And at the time, I was in research at the Review, so I knew him. And I called him up, and I got into a business model Canvas class. And then I got into, all in a week, I got into a class for like a half day at the Small Business Association. And then I got into something else. So within a week, I had got my name on stuff. I'd attended a couple things. And the last thing I did was this business model canvas. And because of my background in research, do you know who your customer is? Do you know? I was pretty solid on who I thought it was me. It was me. I'm the customer.
Right.
And then I met a gentleman named John Overby. He was sitting in this class, and John Overby, he was part of Ignite Northwest, and they had an accelerator. And he seemed interested in what I was doing, and he had gray hair. So everybody I had talked to was my age, younger. I don't have gray hair right now. And he seemed to understand what I was trying to do. He was asking me, so Margie, on your idea, people could go online and they could get information about senior care and nobody would call them at 2 a.m? Is that what you're saying? And I'm like, yeah, that's my idea.
Does that happen?
Yeah, it really happened.
Oh my gosh. You just get a call from a facility?
No. When you put your name online at 2 a.m, they're going to call you. I mean, they're not going to maybe not call you right then, but you're going to call you and call you and call you and call you until you get some info to make sure that you've got all your information and everything that you need.
Sure.
Because they get commission at the end of the day. Yeah. So, and that's what I said. No, nobody's going to know. It's private. Nobody cares. You're going to get this information. You'll be able to give it. He was like, can I give it to my kids? I'm like, yep, you can send it to all your kids and everybody will see. So I did that, and that kind of started my whole, just that week.
Yeah.
Meeting John Overby started my whole journey on what is today Golden Sherpa.
I love that. And when you were doing research for your mom on care.com, on what's the mom's one?
A Place for Mom.
A Place for Mom. What about those didn't you like, that you had to give information and go through so many hoops just to get the base?
It's kind of weird because what I didn't like, I'll tell you this little things. So I went onto a website for a community and I dialed the number, and that was not the community. Oh. It was a referral agency. And that's why I say sometimes I'm like, I can't remember. I think it was caring.com. I don't remember. But they called me back and they asked me like, and it was for my dad. And so they asked me like, so where does your dad live? And what is your dad's finances? And how can your dad, I'm like, my dad wants information.
Yeah.
How much does your community cost? Or what do you have? You shouldn't need all my dad's info. I want to know what your information is. So that was annoying. Yeah. And they kept calling me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was super annoying. Yeah. I mean, for most people, I mean, in your shoes, and if I was going to, start the process of this, obviously I know about Golden Sherpa, so I would use that. But if I didn't know about that, I would go through the same thing of like, okay, let's, senior facilities near me would be like step number one. Like, let's just go through the list.
For sure.
And that just seems like a no-brainer. So that's interesting that the number, a lot of the time the information on these facilities websites isn't even to the facility.
Correct.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And it just makes, the whole process of like, even going in the process, even if it was easy, would be a hard process. Even if you could just Google up the facilities and be like, okay, check. The whole thing would just be terrible. And so the fact that you have to go through all these extra steps.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to go and search senior care for my parent. Nobody wants to do that. Yeah. So by the time you actually do that, it should be like, here, let me tell you everything you need to know to make you feel comfortable.
And you think from their standpoint, they would want to do that? You would think.
Mm-hmm. You would think.
That's insane.
But it's not the case. It's very interesting. And I can go on and on, and I'm sure as we go through the conversation, we will go on and on because I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so the idea started. So what was, you're joining these groups, you're getting these meetings, taking the classes. Did you got into the accelerator? Oh,
well, that's where that network comes in. Yeah. So I could have, for $900 or $9.99, something like that, I could have taken a class for the Women's Business Center for $900. Or for $1,000, I could have paid to have an accelerator, which you had to apply for, which you had to do quite a bit. Yeah. And I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So I'm a researcher. I went and saw who was on the board of all of these organizations. And guess, lo and behold, I knew some people. So I called the people and I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Do you remember me, Margie? And they were like, accelerator for the money, do that. And that was the smartest thing. So I used my my network.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like most people, and that is I feel like a common issue when you're just starting out with your business and like trying to get all your ducks in a row and figuring out, all of the numerous things you even have to do to get started.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is so overwhelming. And so having that network to do that is fantastic.
I didn't even have a business license. I had the name of my company because I had its idea, but I didn't, to get into the accelerator, you had to have a business license, a name, and I just remember saying to them, like, one, to get an accelerator, they usually want you to be in business for 2 or 3 years. I hadn't started. I didn't have a license, but you could do it online. And so I did. Talked to somebody on Friday, got my business license on Saturday morning, and applied Sunday and started the accelerator probably Tuesday.
Where does the name come from, Golden Sherpa?
I love that question. I love that. People always ask me that. Golden Sherpa, the idea for Golden Sherpa was I wanted people to feel like they have, most people have a journey. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what your journey is. We all, based on desire or our own personal, what we see, we create the journey as we get older. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted us to guide you on your own personal journey. I don't know what that is. So we're a golden, which takes you up to the mountain and you see the sunlight. It's not golden years. It's not because you're getting older. It's golden, taking you to the mountain to where you want to go. And what we do is most people come with something. So a Sherpa doesn't train you how to climb a mountain.
Right.
They're your guide to climb the mountain.
Yeah.
And so we're not training you. We're just guiding you.
Yeah.
And so that's how it came about. So helping guide you to the sunlight, the sun, golden.
Yeah. That's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you figure out, okay, the accelerator route is for me.
Yes.
Got the business license, got the name, gonna go through this accelerator.
Yes.
What was that process like?
Crazy.
I bet. How long was the time frame for that program?
I want to say 14 weeks. It could have been.
I think that's pretty
less.
long.
Could have been less.
For a lot of accelerators.
Yeah,
but I mean, even 14 weeks, I mean, I'm sure it's a whirlwind when you're in it.
It was crazy. So we met 3 days a week, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned that I had not a clue what I was doing. So when you're starting a business, we have a vision for it, you really have to make some determinations. Like, are you going to be a lifestyle business or are you going to be a scalable business?
Yeah.
And I really had this desire to make it scalable in the sense that I live in Spokane, and I think that if you live in Italy and your parent lives in Spokane, you should get information. So that we're not just talking about Spokane or Washington State.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. I learned that I know nothing about technology. And when I had this idea, I worked at a startup, a tech company.
Yep.
I did. I knew technology because I had worked in newspaper, and at the time it was going very much digital. So I knew a lot of stuff. I'd worked with developers, that type of thing, but I didn't know anything. And I definitely did not know anything about presenting your business other than that 3-day conference that I thought I learned a lot at. So it was great. We worked together in a group of other entrepreneurs, and I have one who's still a friend today. And I saw him grow, and I think when you're on a journey like this, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
Even if you have a team, when you're the founder, it's lonely.
Yeah.
And so you want to talk to other founders.
Right.
So that's what I learned from that accelerator, and very deep a wealth of knowledge that came from Spokane because it's Eastern Washington accelerator.
Yeah, that's awesome. Coming out, or I guess during the accelerator, from when you started to when you ended, did you feel like there was a lot of progress made? Like I'm sure completely different from start to finish, or did you feel like you were kind of, okay, I have a better grasp of what I need to do?
I think I felt like I had a team. So at the end of the accelerator, one of the pieces of accelerator is they help you form your team. So you can't come in if you don't have tech, you don't have tech. So you have to get advisors for that. So I had a group of advisors. They weren't on my team yet, but I had them, and that was great. That was great. You had to have that, and absolutely you need it. I felt that I got a lot of positive encouragement on the business. I didn't feel like I didn't have a good business idea, if that's what you mean. I felt pretty strong coming out.
Yeah. No,
yes.
I mean, like, I guess the probably poorly worded question, I guess from the start of it to the end of it, did you feel like the business was in a better place or a better, like, how did it transition into
my business was 4 months old by the end of that accelerator.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I got the license, started the business. So it was very much theory, pie in the sky.
Yeah.
I had or you talk to customers, which was really great. It would really help me. So I guess, yes, the answer would be, I had an idea. By the end of the accelerator, I knew my problem was pretty solid, and I knew who would help me build it.
That's huge.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly what you want. I mean, I would hate for the whole thing, and then you come out of it and be like, well, I've got all the pieces. I still don't really know, like, who I'm going to sell this, all that.
I met entrepreneurs during that accelerator who were in that problem. They didn't know who their customer was. They had no idea who was paying for it, or they were about to make a big pivot.
Yeah. And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a pivot.
Most of the time. Right. Exactly. And that's fine. But I would hate for, any company to go through something like that, and at the end of it still have loads of questions of how do I do this? How do I do that? Whatever.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you got to the end of the accelerator, more of a vision, or not more of a vision, more of a direction.
Correct. I knew where I wanted to go.
And then where did we go?
Well, at the end of the accelerator, you basically had graduation. And graduation was, you got to pitch.
Yep.
So every piece of the accelerator was to get your deck together, your pitch deck. And so I pitched. And after that, I did get asked to pitch for Spokane's Mind to Market.
Okay.
And that's $50,000, I think, or that's what I received. I got $50,000. And it's when you're in the idea stage, which is huge out of the Spokane market that we had access. I don't know if that still exists, but to have access to that.
Yeah.
And I pitched, and it was wonderful. And they told me, you got a great idea, lady. They didn't say that, but they said, we like your idea. We totally understand it, but you need a team. So I had advisors, but I didn't have a team. It was still me.
So it's still just you doing all this.
Still just me.
And then did you make the tech and all of that yourself, or was that later on?
With later on.
Okay.
So again, idea stage after the accelerator, knew what I needed, had some advisors who were right with me, and they knew that I was going to be. They knew every step. So I was going to be pitching for my end of my accelerator. Then they knew that I got asked to pitch for Mind to Market, and they were right there. And so when I left that meeting, which they basically said, great idea, lady, but you got to get a team. You need, it can't just be you. You can't be a sole entrepreneur in a tech company. Because I'm not even a developer. So I walked out and called my advisory team. Sure. And they actually said to me, and you need to have that, they have to have some skin in the game. So put some more money into it. And so that's what I said. And I think they were just waiting for me to ask that question. So I think my team was like, and they're still my team. They're still my team.
Still, to this day.
Yes, we meet every Monday.
That's awesome.
Every Monday at 5 a.m. because my team's remote. And most of them are on the East Coast. Well, they're all on the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what made you, that's kind of going into the more of the ecosystem community vibe. Sure. What made you decide to stay and build it in Spokane versus, like you said, most of your team is on the East Coast?
I live in Spokane.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay.
I live in Spokane. When we built it, so we did ultimately get some funding. Yeah. And when we did that, we went back to that network. And that was during the idea stage, during the accelerator, I met people who had the problem. That was the senior communities here in Spokane. That was case managers from the Spokane area. I mean, when I think about it now, I was so blessed. I had a group of case managers who met with me during my development stage to tell me, this is the problem we have, and this is the solution we need. Just help me.
That's fantastic, because most people don't have that. They're like, I'm thinking this is what they need, or this might be a problem they have. But
I called and asked the question. And that was the accelerator. They said, call and ask them if they'll give you $1. Yeah. Many people who I thought initially would fund it, they said, when you have it done, call me.
Right.
That means they're not going to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that taught me really quick. And as we pivoted, it's been right. They were right.
Can you go a little bit deeper on those pivots? How was that process like? A lot of people, I would say most startup companies have at least one pivot, if not 2, 3, 4, 5, 10.
Well, okay, I'll start that. Golden Sherpa has been around for a bit, but when we launched 2 months or 3 months before COVID. And our customer was senior communities. That's how we get funded. We have a subscription model for Golden Sherpa based on how many beds you have licensed for. Sure. And when COVID happened, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you're going to start a business, boy, and you want to know how great your team is, and you want to know how really, one of the questions I always get is like, Margie, you got grit, or like, how did you get that, or what did you? Well, you got to know that you really want to solve something, and when your customer is locked down, closed, when nobody wants to talk about senior communities in Washington State, where all over the news, Washington State was all over the news that their senior communities were closed down, people couldn't get in, people were taking people out.
Yep.
But the problem was still the same. During COVID, people needed to move into senior communities.
Right.
And senior communities needed help getting clients. So we just continued to talk to we called them early adopters. We didn't charge. A couple of them we did, but after COVID, we didn't charge them. So initially we charged them, great. Then when they couldn't take clients in, we didn't. But we still got a lot of value out of them. And so that's why I say in Spokane, this is where I tell everybody, we learn everything here in Spokane, in the Spokane market. And again, some of the great things about Spokane that I now value and I talk about often, Spokane is a hub. So we are a big city. We have, 3-4 hospitals here. Yeah. And we have a lot of rural residents and customers in our market too. And that's kind of like the petri dish of healthcare today and senior care. So it would make no sense for me to move. I mean, I got lucky that I was here, I would say, but not really. Maybe it was a blessing from God, because when now I think about products and services, I have a really great pool to talk to because I stayed here in Eastern Washington, and they've been really valuable. Did that answer your question? Kind of went all over the place.
Yes.
There.
No, that's fine. I mean, we can talk a little bit more about that. How do you think your business would have been different had you been located in Seattle, in the Bay Area, New York, all of that?
So as an entrepreneur from Eastern Washington, I do have to go to the West Side.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that one. I know some of your trips to Seattle. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And they're great, but it's a lot of entrepreneurs in a room. And though we don't have as many people in health tech and age tech for sure, that means that you're one of a few, and so your voice is a little bit louder. Yeah. And so I think that's really great. You do have to go into the other side. You do have to see what everybody else is doing, and I love it. I love the energy. But I think we wouldn't be, maybe, but maybe not. You never know, because whenever you're in a particular environment, everything changes. Sure. But I don't know that I would have received funding as quickly as I did. I have access to the network that I did. Still have access to a pretty deep network and growing. So I think that it would have been different. I feel sorry for some of those entrepreneurs that I see on the West Side because they have this idea, but there is opportunity when you're starting a business where, I mean, it happens here too, where you meet a lot of people who are going to help you. And it's $1,000 here, $10,000 there. You know, all of a sudden, you're spending a lot of money for naught. Yeah. And when you're new and you're just trying to figure out, and you're very excited about what you're doing, and you think that you're getting all this help and support, you can go awry. And you hear stories, horror stories, for people who've like lost their tech or worked with the wrong developers or all these things. And I didn't have that experience. So I think it would have been a little different on the West Side than here.
Definitely. Do you think being in Spokane, I don't know exactly the demographics, but I would assume there's more of an aging population here than elsewhere. Has that been a help or a hindrance to your specific business?
I think that it has, I don't think it really matters. My customer is the adult child, And we have people who look all across Washington state. So we talk to people who live in Spokane, but their parents are in Seattle, or they're in Seattle and their parents are Spokane, or they're in Yakima and their parents. So, I have to drive across in the wintertime. It is great because I can see new senior communities being built, and those are our customers. So that's great. The demographics, again, but I think it's happening all across the country. So I don't think that having a tech company in Spokane and the demographics of Spokane affects us as much as it could.
I love it. That's good to know. So when I'm going to look for senior living care for my grandparents. I'm going to go on your website. Walk me through what that looks like when I pop in goldensherpa.com, I'm assuming.
You're going to go to goldensherpa.com and you're going to see a little Asian couple. And there's a reason why I have a little Asian couple on my site. It's very specific. So the other thing that I noticed in senior care, and it's just not true, is that everybody has gray hair and they're Anglo-American and they're English speaking and they're looking for that type of community.
Sure.
We have a multicultural country. There are every demographic. And so I specifically looked for a couple that said it could be anybody. It could be anybody. So I always tell people, do you see the little Asian couple? That's Golden Sherpa. And then you're going to go and you need to put the city, the state, or zip code. And up will come if we have clients or communities there. Or you can take a little survey that we had developed with the case management group, case studies. So they basically what they said is many people come and they have not a clue what kind of care their parent needs.
Right.
So we have these little stories of little, is this like your mom, Sarah? Sarah can't drive the car anymore, or it has trouble remembering things. And then it'll kind of take you down the path of light assist, more assistance. And so that, again, it's really great, and I think it's one of those areas where people are like, oh my gosh, we don't get this. I didn't make it up. It was the case managers who said, this is what we want. We want to help you.
I'm sure that's a huge common problem that people have. I mean, the people you get questions that you hadn't even thought about yet. Like,
Absolutely.
I have no idea. And,
Absolutely. And that's really where I think when people talk about age tech and they talk about patient-centered care, you need to remember that technology is a tool, but this is real people's lives. So people will compare Golden Sherpa very much, our software, to say, and I have in my past, I mean, I do it now. We're like Zillow for senior care.
So you can go. That's exactly. I told somebody it was like that.
Yes,
I was talking
it's
to somebody
like
about it the other
Zillow
day.
for senior care.
Yep.
And so you can go just like Zillow, city, state, and you find what you want, and then you say how much money you have. So we have price. So we have these filters, and so you just kind of narrow down the filter. And when I thought of that, I had just purchased a home. So all these things kind of were like percolating in my mind. When I met that friend in the thing, it was like little pieces were coming. And I think that's very much how entrepreneurs work. We're always thinking about things stuck in your mind. You're thinking, oh man, why couldn't we do that? Right. I mean, I love cars. I mean, I really do love cars, but I don't know a lot about them.
Yeah.
I don't know about the engines or anything. So every year, new cars come up, new models. And so you go and you say, I want a car. That's all.
Right.
Okay. And then Edmunds tells you, this is the newest car. And then this is the highest ranking car. And now this is why this motor's and whatever. Same thing with Zillow. I want this neighborhood. Okay, so this is how much the homes are today. And this is how much it cost before. I mean, you get so much information. And really, I thought, why can't you get that with senior care? It should be so easy. It's such a big purchase that you should be able to get this information without gates, barriers. Transparency is one of the missions that I have. I want people to have access to information. So when they make that decision, it's a very expensive decision to make. It's a very personal decision that they have everything that they need. And it's still hard. So you go onto the site, you do filters, and then communities pop up. Sometimes you don't get a community, but that's okay because we have a little note that says you can reach out to a person. And that's the one thing that I've learned. Technology is really great. AI, people ask us that. Do you use AI? I'm like, yeah, we do. But you know what? AI is a tool. It is not going to tell you how he feels or she feels. And AI, yeah, I've heard it. People call me and say, Margie, you should have a little bot, a little person. We can just talk to a person. They're almost like real. Well, people don't want almost like real. When they make a phone call, they want a real person.
Yeah.
Not only they want a real person, but they want a real person who they can understand.
Right.
So I get that question a lot. So it's a tool that we use, and it helps a lot of people. So yeah, you just put your filters in, information comes up. If you don't find the information, you can contact somebody, and then we give you the information.
That's fantastic. Through your website, is it just here's all the information on this one facility? If you want more information or book a tour or whatever, can I do that through
Absolutely.
your... Okay,
Good question. Good question. So the other thing that I personally wanted, and a lot of people thought, oh yeah, that's a great suggestion, Margie. I hated it when you would make a phone call. So I took a moment and thought about other people and myself. So if I make a phone call and I'm busy and I'm at work, and most of the people who use Golden Sherpa, they're not seniors.
No.
The people who use Golden Sherpa are people who are working and they're busy.
Right.
They call it the adult child. They could be the caregiver, however you want to term that. It could be the neighbor. But you're busy and you're worried about somebody. So you're kind of in a different mode. And let me tell you, if you keep on getting, oh, call me back, or that's too much. Yeah. So we don't do that. You actually schedule appointments on Golden Sherpa. So you can go to Golden Sherpa, you connect with a provider, and they have set up a calendar to say, this is when I'm available. Because communities, they have this little thing that says, when you drive by senior communities, they have these flags and stuff, and they say, we're open for tour.
Right.
Well, not always. It's amazing. If you go on a weekend to take a tour, you're probably not going to find anybody. Yeah. I don't understand that because a lot of people want to go on the weekend, but you got to schedule that appointment. Okay. So we have times that you can meet and you can determine if you want to take a virtual tour. We had that before COVID, and that was, again, a provider who asked us to put that. We didn't come up with that. We weren't brilliant. Yeah. But you know what? After COVID, everybody wanted to take a virtual tour because you couldn't go in. So we have virtual tours, we have in-person tours, or a phone call. So you schedule with that. And then everybody gets an email, and our software allows you to have that transaction through the marketplace.
That seems very logical. Like, that's how they should have always done it. It's crazy how that works.
Now. Yeah.
Wild how
that's
that
technology.
Works. Do you have most people, and I'm not sure if this information is readily available, but is there a natural kind of more of a pattern for what people will usually do? Is it a phone call coupled with a virtual tour, and then finally they do an in-person, or a lot of people just go straight to in-person, or how is that usually done? It
really depends on the person. Yeah. I think people do like a phone call. I would say phone call first, but it depends on where you're at. So, for example, if you're in the bed at a hospital, I had this one lady, she's the cutest thing. Her son called me, but she was in a local hospital, and she heard about Golden Sherpa, probably from the hospital staff, and she wanted an adult family home. That's a community home. We call that in Washington State, adult family home. So her friend had been in one, so she kind of knew. But her son was in Hawaii.
Oh my gosh.
And so she was sitting there in her room, scheduling virtual tours for him.
Oh.
Yeah. So because he was the one in charge of doing all of her finances and getting her out. And so he would call me because she was calling him. It was kind of funny. And he actually called me one time to ask me, he's like, Margie, my mom is all of a sudden getting a bunch of phone calls from other agencies who heard she was in the hospital. I'm like, we don't call you. So Golden Sherpa, it's a conversation that you have with the provider directly. So we do not, on Golden Sherpa, we do not give your information out to anybody. And that's one of the things that I think I wanted, and most people want, right?
The vast majority.
You give your phone number, your email address to the provider itself. So if you want to go into a small adult family home, you would be giving your email, your phone number to that adult family home. We don't give your email and phone number to an adult family home. And so he had to turn her phone off.
That is interesting. So how did these other providers?
I'm going to say I don't know. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
But it happens.
That's wild. I mean, that's
a commodity.
It's a
commodity.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's fantastic. And then through all of this, okay, first of all, I want to step back. You actually have people call you and you talk to them.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
That's fantastic.
Not all the time.
Sure.
Yeah, but I do have people call me. I had one lady who called me recently she is in Seattle, and her mom is here, and I think she was in the hospital, and she heard about Golden Sherpa, the daughter, and they are waiting for her to qualify for Medicaid. So she has a bit of money. So they call it a spend down. So she has to spend down all of her dollars in order to get qualified for Medicaid, state assistance. And she is using in-home care. And she has a case manager. And the case manager told her mom, because she's not there, the daughter's in Seattle, her mom that, when you qualify for Medicaid, you are going to have to share a room. And so the daughter called me because she was going on to Golden Sherpa Marketplace, and she could see in Seattle, or where she was looking. I think she was looking on the area. I don't know exactly where, but she was looking, and she could see that we had on the marketplace private rooms for Medicaid. So she's like, "Who's right?"
Yeah.
And I said, "We are." Yeah. That's the provider telling you that they have a private room, which is a very common trend on the West Side. So we have many people who don't know what's available in senior care because they're really busy. Case managers, hospitals, doctors, they don't have time to do what we do. And we go and ask people to share their information, and that's what they do.
Wow.
Their information being what kind of care they have available today, if they have an opening, how they get funded. So if you have to pay privately, if you have to pay with state funds, Medicaid, if you are a veteran, and we have all those questions, and you just click, 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 and make connections.
Goodness.
Yeah.
That is a lot. So that so many things. This kind of brings us up to today. What does Golden Sherpa look like today? What are you still working on? What does the kind of the vision look like down the road?
So we did a pivot.
Fantastic.
We did a pivot. So we found, and one of the things that I find in my journey as an entrepreneur, and I judge that many entrepreneurs have this. I had this idea, and I didn't expect it to be what it is today. I think as you go through your journey, it changes. Yeah. And so, to be honest, I didn't know Golden Sherpa was as great as it was. And because of my network, I'll go back to that network, and taking the time to meet people in the space, we ultimately won a bid for Washington State to have Washington State use Golden Sherpa for their case managers for Medicaid. And it was really funny because people would ask me about the competitor. So who had it before? Who had that bid before? And this was a company that raised money in the millions.
Sure.
And we beat them. First time out. Yeah. And I didn't realize how great we were. Yeah. I thought we were good.
Sure.
I mean, obviously I thought we were good. Yeah. I have a great team. But, I haven't raised $1 million yet. So I assumed, incorrectly I might add, that they didn't bid on it. Isn't that silly? But I thought, they must not have bid on it. Only to find out that they did, and only to find out that we were just better.
Yeah.
The idea, the concept was so much better.
Yeah.
Which made me realize we need to pivot. Because one of the things that I wanted from the very beginning, and it really put me back to talking about case managers. This was a tool. Washington State needed a tool for their case managers because they don't know what's available in the market at any given time. Just like the case managers who helped me build this knew they needed a tool to help them when they're sitting with families to tell them what is available at any given time in the market. level of care. So do they offer the care that you need today? How do you pay for it? Can you pay for it? We don't want anybody to fall in love with a community and find out they don't have an opening, or fall in love with a community they can't afford, or they have an opening, they can afford it, and they don't offer the kind of care your loved one needs. And these are all complicated. Everybody's different, but they're pretty basic. Ultimately, they're pretty basic.
Yeah.
And that just didn't exist. And so we realized that we needed to change a little bit. When I first launched Golden Sherpa, when I was pitching Golden Sherpa at the very beginning for Mind to Market, and when we were a quarterfinalist in the Seattle Angel Conference. Yeah.
There you go.
And when I was pitching, I was talking about the adult children. And I still do. They still are a very central part of what we do. But case managers are really the people who are working day to day trying to help people in hospital get to an assisted living within the state, get people to where they need to go. They have huge dockets of people, and it's growing because assisted living is not just seniors. I've learned that too. It is people with rare disease. It's a young person who got in a car accident and now is not able to care for themselves at home. Yeah. So it's broader. So we did a little bit of pivot. I realized we had a really great product. So now we really are focusing on government, city, state, government entities who really need to understand or have a bridge to all of these communities that are out there every single day, that their funding mechanism changes because companies get bought out quite a lot. When I say a lot, like every 2-3 years, there's a community in Spokane. My gosh, every time I turn around, they got a new name. Staff stays the same, but the names change. That means everything could have changed.
And
how
why
they
is that?
pay. I don't know. I think
That's
because as we go, we talk about the trends in the space. Private equity or big business is looking at. So at one time when things were a little bit before this age wave started, maybe people weren't looking at it, so there's a lot of communities within the state, but it's getting bigger better business. But things change a lot. And so we made a bit of a pivot. And then we also realized, again, case managers, that hospitals, it's really expensive to keep people in a hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually was at very early on, so kind of keeps reminding me, Margie, go back to what's right in front of you. And I didn't at times. Right in front of me, I was at a conference held by a hospital to help them get people out of their hospital, discharging. Yep. And they were looking for new ideas for discharging. And somebody said, Margie, you should go, very early on. You should go to this. And I did. Again, I didn't have a product at the time. Sure. It was at idea stage. I stood up, told them what I wanted to do. And so now we're really focused on hospitals and government. Yeah. And within that, we will help the families who are providing that care. So bit of a pivot.
Going from kind of consumer focused to still consumer focused, but more of a,
we're connecting through the hospitals
exactly.
and the government.
What is your thought on kind of time to close on some of these deals? Because objectively, hospitals and government are like two of the slowest moving industries. What do you have kind of fears about that? Is there a good tactic that you're approaching to kind of tackle that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that healthcare takes a long time. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, any healthcare. You're already in the healthcare field.
Yes.
And then
at one time I would have said I was in the marketing field. So that really goes back to really understanding what you have as a product and what you're trying to serve. And so now I'm really much more attuned, and I think when I think about time to close or moving forward, I think that right now is a really great time. We're really in a fortunate position that we've been in the market, that we've been building relationships within Washington State, within the market. One of the things that I didn't understand, these are all things I didn't understand, but now I know.
Well, how could you? Right?
I don't know.
It's a learning process.
Yeah, it's totally a learning process. And I would say to somebody who is starting a startup in health tech, know your government.
It's a big
Become an advocate. I did not think that I was ever going to sit with a state representative or even try to meet them or talk to them. But you know what? You got to do that. If you're going to build something in healthcare, you need to understand how government runs, because healthcare is government funded. The majority of healthcare is government funded. So you need to understand how policies are created, what your state needs, what other states need, the trends, federal government. And so to answer your question, it's crazy right now. Yeah. But if you have a good product, which we do, and if you are a tool that will save money for state and hospitals, which is what we do, then you're in a good place. So I don't think it's a bad time. It just takes you need to get your name out there. You need to have a product that people value. Yeah. So you have to have some kind of moat. You can't just raise your hand and say, hey, I've got a really great idea, and go to a hospital. You can't do that. You've got to put in the time, show that you have a valid product, and then be constantly ready to get through that door as they open. And things have changed in healthcare. At one time, you could go and pitch the hospital direct. Mm-hmm. It's not like that anymore. Yeah,
what does that process look like now? I mean, if you're going to go after hospitals, are you calling congressmen? Are you calling legislators? I mean, how does that all work?
I'm a really good emailer. That's marketing. That's my marketing piece. Yeah. I think that you need to, let me think about it. What would I do? I think that you need to, have a network. You need to have a network of people who see what you're doing, people who understand your mission and understand your product, because you've talked to them about your product. Sure. And then you need to be, just like I was when I said, yes, I'd go to Vegas. If somebody says, Margie, do you want to do this? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Margie, do you want to come and speak? Mm-hmm, absolutely. When do I need to be there? That's the one thing that I realize. Everybody needs a speaker, as I sit here. Everybody needs somebody to speak about the mission, especially in age tech. Not a lot of people want to talk about it. Yeah. Everybody needs to have somebody's back. And what I tell people, that if somebody helps you in this space in government, if some government representatives is going to help me, I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. I'm going to sing their praises. And they get my praise because they're helping me, right? And I'm going to help them. So I used to think that I would bug people. So I used to think, oh my gosh, am I bothering the governor's office? No, I'm not bothering the governor's office. Governor's office needs to know that Golden Sherpa can help Washington State save money. So no, I'm not bothering them. And they want to hear it. So I think that it's really your mindset. Yes, I will call a congressman's office. Yes, I will. And I will send an email multiple times and say, hey, this is Margie. Do you remember me? And somebody said, so what's going to happen, Margie, is ultimately there'll be a conversation and they'll go, do you know that lady, that girl? And that's actually how I got the governor's office to call me back, because I'd sent a few emails. And a senator, had called the governor's office and complained, and a guy there said, hey, I just got this email from a lady who says she can solve this problem. Yeah. So yeah, I call them.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think people always wonder, like, these companies that get government contracts or people that work with legislators or whatever. I mean, not easy to get in touch with them, obviously. But
you're
doable.
If you're me,
keep doing it.
For sure. If you're me, and if you are somebody who is willing to give it that time. But look, if you're going to start a company and put all of your time and your money into it, give me a break. Yeah. You got to be able to do that. For sure.
What else can you do?
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, as someone who's going through this journey, if you were giving advice to someone else wanting to start their business, or maybe in the first stages like you once were, and they're trying to figure out how to get their business license, how to join accelerators, where even to look, and maybe they don't have a network, how would you advise them to start at all?
Oh, I'd go to your local library. If you're in the Spokane area, literally go to Mark Pond. Yeah. He's for sure the best. But also research. I'm a really big advocate. That's where my background is. That's what I do. I have an information marketplace for senior care. So I'm not not gone very far from what I've done in the past. So I would say, do your research. Don't expect your friends to help you.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, my friends don't help me.
Yeah.
My professional network helps me, and they happen to be some of my friends, but I do have friends who like, oh yeah, they don't really know what I do until they need me, which is why you go to people who know how to help startups. And we have, if you're in this area, Mark Pond. If you're not in this area, Mark Pond, it'll cost you $5 to get a Spokane library. I think it's pretty easy. So that's what I would say. Do research, connect with people who have helped people, and everybody wants to talk to you. When I worked for that company, Zacon Fresh, my CEO told me that. He said, Margie, and I would see him take meetings with entrepreneurs, people who want to start a business, and I do the exact same thing because you don't know, and you've got another person in your network. So maybe they have a great idea and you can incorporate it, or maybe not. Maybe you know somebody who needs what they need. So you need to be really open to everybody. I would also say, if you're an entrepreneur just starting out, don't assume you're right. Assume the opposite. Assume that you don't know anything, that you have a great idea, but go out and find out. Don't assume. I think a lot of people think they know the problem, but that's a bias, I would say. You need to go out and find out. And that I learned at the startup, or the accelerator. Go and ask.
Right.
And that's hard. So if it's so hard that you can't ask people, will you give me $1? I have this idea, and somebody say no, it's junk. Then you shouldn't be doing it. So try to get rid of your bias. Remember that if it's just you and an idea, that's not a lot. You need to go out and ask people, is there a real problem?
Definitely. And I think you can see that as such an important piece of information and advice, because there's so many people out there that will spend months, years, decades working on something, and then they get to the end of it and they have it, and then nobody wants it. It's like, well, did you talk to anybody about this? And they're like, no, I was too busy, building this thing. It's like, well, it's cool, but no one cares,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go through that.
Customer discovery, talk to people. If you were going to go back kind of on the same vein, but for yourself, if you were to go back to yourself at the very beginning, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
I would say, Margie, you've got a really great idea. You've got an amazing team, and you're better than the guy who raised millions of dollars. And remember that every step of the way. Know it from the very beginning. I think if I'd known that earlier, I think I would have had a little bit more confidence. And that's what I would say. That taught me, and I think I should have known that a lot faster. That's just...
Well, it's hard too. I mean, you're starting a business. You're trying to not be too bold as to come in the room and take it over. But, I think that's a hard line.
Even though people think I do that, but I don't.
It's a hard line to draw of people want you to be confident and be behind your idea 100%, but also have enough grace and humility to take advice for some people.
Yes, but I probably would have asked for more money on that bid.
Hey.
I would have.
That's all right.
But yes.
Awesome.
So that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Well, it's been wonderful to chat with you. Do you have any other closing remarks before we shut her down? Where can people find you? What about Golden Sherpa? If someone wants to talk to you.
You want to get hold of me? Go to goldensherpa.com. Go to info@goldensherpa.com. People can reach out to our team. If you want to call me personally, go to goldensherpa.com, info@goldensherpa.com, and say you want to talk to me personally. But, I would say, if you're going to start a company, if you have an idea, a vision, then make sure you're really passionate about it. You need to wake up every morning and be hopeful, because it's pretty tough, and there are going to be ups and downs. And if there are times when I've told my husband that I don't even understand why I still do this. Why do I'll have a really bad day, and I'll wake up in the next morning and I'll have a vision of like, oh, we'll fix it this way. And at times I have said, am I crazy? But I am crazy. I am crazy for making sure that people have access to information regardless of their finances, regardless of where they live, their ability to pay. I think that I really am an advocate for healthcare from my core, and I didn't realize that about myself. So if you're going to start something, know it's going to take a long time. Know that you're really passionate about it, and is it at your core? And if you can say that, yes, I think you have a good start, but that's just a start, but it's at least going to get you going, because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard, but it's a great joy when somebody calls you up and says, and we've had that where case managers will say, "You've saved my job. You make it so easy." Families leave. I had this recently. A hospital case manager said to me, "Margie, we see people at the really bad time in their life. They're down. They're kind of almost depressed, right? Yeah. But when they leave here after they've used Golden Sherpa, they are hopeful. They feel like they have agency in choosing, because we allow them, we give them options. They get to see, and they get to leave happy. That's makes me think, you know what? We're good. We're good. That's where I'm like, yep, I'm doing the right thing, and we keep moving forward.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Well, Margie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Yes, it's been fun.
I learned so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Sure.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.